Welcome to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host. Here's our format. A bunch of guys sitting around a bar. There's no bar. Having drinks. There's no drinks either. But we're talking business, and you, the audience, are listening in. The Best of Investing is actually a radio show that has been around since August 2010, and it airs every Saturday on Fox News Radio, 9:10 a.m. at 1 p.m. Now, we're not a political show. We're strictly business, so everyone will be happy with that. We'll have various speakers, guest speakers, attorneys, accountants, economic advisors, business coaches. I have great co-hosts with me, Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money and Brian Burke of Praxis Capital. Now, the cool thing about this is that you're actually getting to see scenes behind the scenes. If you're going to talk to Mark, don't do this. What you do is you pivot like this.
Like that. You've got to keep your mouth near the microphone.
So we all have headphones on because we're recording a radio show that is going to be airing on the air on radio. But in addition, you get to see what happens during the commercial breaks, how we prepare for the next segment. And Mark, how do you determine the interest rate you charge your borrowers?
Oh, okay.
Until they start to crack.
Like if I like their face.
Yeah, I like that. It's a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of levity because I like to try to throw a little bit of humor in there because, just business by itself sometimes gets a little boring. So you got to always kind of break things up.
So Stefan, for like gold jewelry,
remember his name is John.
Actually, John.
Stefan, yeah, but he goes by John.
Okay, got it. Sorry about that.
My mother's confused.
Remember, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome. You're listening to the Best of Investing on News Talk 910, sponsored by Pacific Trade Exchange, your best in trade. This is the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. For those of you listening for the first time, here's our format. A few guys sitting around a bar having drinks, without the drinks, talking business with you, the audience listening in. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm pleased to have as my co-host Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage. Mark Hanf is off this week. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down, 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are sponsored by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. You can reach them at 916-777-5511. And today's trivia theme is famous number 23s or 24s in sports. You'll get it when I get to the questions. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. And we're also on television, Comcast Channel 26 on Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 6 p.m. Don't forget to record our show on a website called dar.fm. Quick reminder, World Wraps in Corte Madera and Santa Clara is still giving our listeners a free smoothie with purchase of a wrapper bowl. If you mention the Best of Investing, go there for lunch today, best wraps in town. And don't forget to mention the Best of Investing for your free smoothie. Now, today's guest is a special friend of mine, David Vogelstein, who's an attorney. And I know best friend and attorney don't usually go together, but he's a good guy. And he's going to share with us white-collar crimes. Now, let me give you a little background on David here. He is a criminal defense lawyer, has been for 36 years, handling over 10,000 cases, hopefully not for the same criminal, including fraud, embezzlement, drugs, violence, attempted murder, sex cases, holy smokes. And he's represented every type of person from CEOs, which I can see would be embezzlement and drugs and all that fun stuff, of Fortune 100 companies to homeless, etc. And let's see what else here. Now this I think is really kind of cool. He's had 17 county mock trial championships in a row, 2 state championships out of 450 teams, and 1 national mock trial championship out of thousands of high schools across the country. David, welcome to the Best of Investing.
Thank you very much, Edward. Pleasure to be here.
All right. Now, what kind of awesome tidbits do you have for us regarding white-collar crime?
Well, as we know, after the Bernie Madoff and other financial scam fiascos hit the press and hit the courts, the federal and state governments across the nation have amped up their prosecution of financial crimes, major financial crimes involving securities and unregistered securities, and relatively minor financial crimes like misrepresenting your income or expenses on federal or state loan or bank applications. So, for instance, if your business was earning $1 million a year for the past 5 years, but in the last year only earned $500,000, and you're applying for a loan, and you need to stick on that $1 million figure, and you put that down on a loan application and swear under penalty of perjury that that's your income when you know, in fact, that this year you only made $500,000, that's a federal crime and that's a state crime, and they're looking at that closely.
Well, now they get, I think it's a 4506 is what the bank usually asks the applicant to sign. Isn't that the one, 4506?
Yeah,
it's where they actually say, you promise that this is actually what you reported on your tax return.
Correct. However, there are multiple instances of people claiming that their tax returns aren't available, their tax returns have been burnt in a fire, they don't have them available, and they're planning to do that, and they're misrepresenting their income out of desperation to get that loan. And my advice is, don't do it, especially now, because the price of prosecution is way too high.
And in any loan that I'm familiar with, the banks will go to the IRS and say, let me see a transcript which has
That's
every
that
line.
form, that 4506, where you
Yeah.
actually you give permission.
And they do it and they check, and I just had a deal now where the woman filed and she had to have an amended tax return because the CPA didn't do it correctly.
Sure.
And we're still waiting for the transcript for the amended filing, but they won't close the loan until they get it. And so,
Well, see,
but there
yeah,
probably are some commercial loans or maybe hard money loans like Mark might do. I don't know where they don't check that, but
Well, see, that'd be interesting. You could actually file a tax return and then go for your loan,
Yes.
and then go back and file an amended return, because you have 3 years to do that.
Yes.
What are you supposed to do at that point? Go back to the lender and say, oh, by the way, 2 years ago I took out this loan, here's my amended return?
you'd be
Probably not.
better off doing it that way, because with this file that I have with an amended return, they said, huge red flag, amended return, why do you have it? You have to explain it, we have to see it and everything.
And the worst case scenario is that you're being summoned before a federal grand jury as the target of an investigation. You don't want to have to pay me, you don't want to have to pay $100,000 to deal with a huge financial mess. You don't want to have to deal with the ruination of your business and your reputation just because you were a little bit greedy on your loan application.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people now. If they said, oh, well, I'm going to rent this house out, but I want to say I'm living there. And I said,
Oh, yeah.
well, if you do that, not only won't you be living there, you'll be living in jail because they will fine you. And it's not worth it trying to get a 0.25% better
Now,
interest
what are
rate
they?
on
Are
a
they
loan.
like they're going in your mailbox, which is illegal, and finding out that your PG&E bills are not there? No, I mean,
Well,
how
no,
they
but
check it?
if they question,
send
if they
it.
have reason to not believe you, they put a stipulation in the loan that they have the right within the first 60 days to come into the property unannounced and see if you're living there, see if it looks like you're living there, see if the utility bills are in your name, and if any of those are unsatisfactory, they can call the loan and report you to the district
Yeah, 60
attorney.
days is not enough. They really need to give us
And
60 days.
unfortunately, when you throw out your garbage and throw out your bills, you have abandoned your property. The Fourth Amendment doesn't apply to abandoned property, and they can go through your garbage.
So when I see the homeless guy looking through my garbage, he really probably works for the bank.
Well, he
Okay.
could work for the federal government.
Or
too.
for the federal government. All right.
He may be working off a sentence too.
Yeah, that's true. You know, to me, identity theft is that and hacking into your computer for other things, just stealing information. That's the thing that just gets my craw.
Well, many people arrested for identity theft have serious drug problems. Identity theft and methamphetamine use has been linked. It was linked recently in a Wall Street Journal article. About 75% of those people arrested for the relatively smaller identity theft crimes, where they're going into your garbage and they're spending days reconstructing a check program which they can get, with your name and somebody else's driver's license ID and somebody else's bank account number, and then going to the banks and cashing checks around a 5-county area.
Yeah, this
It
is
happens.
amazing. You think with all that intelligence, basically, I mean, you got to be pretty sneaky to do that. Use it for good.
Well, but that's the problem with the criminal mind. The criminal mind doesn't get that far.
Yeah.
Especially when there's drugs involved, and these are people who have trouble functioning in society.
Sure.
And the courts have had their fill of these people, and many of them are going to prison for long term.
Well, they should, because it's amazing how devastating that can be to people when you steal their identity. I mean, I had my identity stolen a few years ago, and actually I was fortunate because we caught it early enough, and I was not really as inconvenienced as I heard these horror stories. But the way we figured out that mine probably got stolen is because the attorney who shared office space with me, his wife happened to go into the same store within a 2-week period, and her identity got stolen too. And we think what happened was these professionals, the person at the counter takes your information and then they sell it for like $50.
Well, embezzlement and identity theft have one thing in common, and that is the inability of the suspect, the perpetrator, to care about the effects of his or her conduct on the victim. And I have done cases where the victims have actually committed suicide because their business has been destroyed, and it's a small mom and pop business.
I was just thinking the same thing with embezzlement.
Sometimes the people don't care, and the psychologists, the forensic psychologists are saying now that many people who commit embezzlement crimes, if it's not due to drugs, they are actually on the same tree, not the same branch, but the same tree as serial killers. This lack of empathy and lack of emotion in terms of their conduct.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. I showed a client many years ago a list of checks with photographs of all the checks that he allegedly had written on somebody else's account, effectively destroying that person's business. And what did he say? He pointed to one check and said, "I didn't write that check." So his focus was on the one check out of hundreds that he didn't write.
Amazing.
Not the acknowledgement that, I did that, help me, get me some help, get me some mitigation, and that kind of, it tells us what the minds of these people are like.
And they're always sorry that they got caught.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. We're in the studio here with David Vogelstein, an attorney who has a lot of specialties, but we're talking white-collar crime today. And here is our first trivia question, and again, the theme is famous number 23s or 24s, and it's too bad that Brian's not here because he's always asked me for a NASCAR question, and here we go. He's going to have to just listen to the show and find this one out. Okay, this famous NASCAR driver wears number 24. Who is he? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. This famous NASCAR driver wears number 24. Who is he? 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name and your email address, and make sure that you speak slowly and spell out your email address one letter at a time, please. And we will be right back. Good. So far, so good. Me likey.
Unsuspecting world.
Every week I put a... I don't get it either. Someone just stuck this on my leg. What happened was I was wearing pants for the first so many months because it was cold out. Now I wear, but I get hot, so I pull up my pant leg. Well, he decided to focus in on my leg, so I started putting little funny stickers on my leg. You got it?
And now he has no hair.
Now I have no hair on it.
There you go.
Okay, we have a lot of fun. We goof around, but we have a lot of fun. I was thinking, I don't know if I was going to mention on the air or just we could do it now. There was a people's court situation where someone had this A sued B because a check was written supposedly to A from his grandmother, and when it got into B's hand, and this was like Mr. John Smith, and this was like John D. Smith. They just happened to have the same name, and they lived within like 10 miles of each other. And there was even a card that says, hello, grandson, here's, the $1,000 I promised you for your birthday, blah, 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 right? And this guy's defense was, well, my name's John Smith. Well, do you have a grandmother so-and-so? No.
That's a crime.
Oh, yeah, because he knew it wasn't from him.
That's the,
When
when faced with the truth or a lie, they will lie even if the truth helps them more. What is up with that?
Yeah, I couldn't be a good liar because I couldn't remember which one.
I'm not
Besides,
I'm
your
not
wife
saying-
would kill you.
I'm not
Yeah,
sitting
that's
here
fair.
with you now. I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, it's part of a dysfunctional upbringing.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it stems from childhood stuff
Yep.
because it's really endemic. It's really embedded in the brain.
Yeah.
That process.
Good
defense.
thing that didn't go off during the show.
You're right. So we're canceling it.
I heard about this ring. They were in a mall, and the idea was they invented an ATM machine that basically all they did was stick in like $200 worth. But the idea was you'd stick your ATM in, and it would basically steal your PIN and everything, right? And from that, they would start sucking out everybody.
That's a cool creation.
Isn't it a cool one? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, you're that smart. There's got to
Yeah.
be something good that you can do.
You can manipulate the shit out of them and say, you want to be Bubba's girlfriend?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I know some of these guys, it's like,
Well,
hey,
we're
you're
not
too
on the
good
air,
looking
are
to-
we?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
being recorded. You just have to bleep that out. The one time I have someone swear.
Ed would have to tell me